to know my woes. No one wants to hear my sad song. No one cares. No one cares to know my woes. I carry the weight of a thousand loads. I've cried my ancestors' tears with my own, and over the years, the tears have come by the droves. They say, be strong, black woman, be strong to survive. Then your lover says being strong is wrong, supplying dreams of thriving that are not your own. Not your own. Black woman, be strong, black woman. I've killed your sons, killed your hopes, I've killed your hopes and dreams, black woman, be strong. I've taken all you own, black woman, be strong. You may be broken, but they can't have your song. Sing on, black woman.
Peace, love, and enlightenment. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. All right. This is Godis Nanu coming to you live. And today I'm going to be talking about what does self-care really look like? What does self-care really look like? And I know a lot of people talk about self-care. There's a lot of conversation about self-care. So, most people heard of self-care, think they know, have a good idea of what self-care is. But I do find that a lot of times, a lot of people, they may have heard it somewhere and don't really have a full understanding, don't have a deep connection and understanding for what self-care really is and what it really should be, to implement it in a healthy way, in a very balanced way, so that it does not interfere with your day-to-day life, and so that it's not an idea where you just decide, well, I'm just going to be selfish now. Everybody else is selfish, so now I'm going to be selfish. That's really not the attitude to have. The proper attitude to have is that, I have a lot of priorities, and I'm one of those priorities. I'm one of the priorities. As a mother, my children are important to me. My husband is important to me. I'm also important to me. I matter too. And I matter just as much as everyone else. Not a matter of me, I got to be about me. Okay. That's not really the right attitude. That's not what self-care is about. Self-care is not about being selfish. It's not about being self-centered. You can give a different definition to it, being self-centered, but really in the grand scheme of things, we know being self-centered is not a positive thing. To always be focused on yourself. At some point you should mature and grow into a place where your circle includes more than you, but your circle of priorities includes, your immediate family, your community, and society as a whole. And depending on your role in society, maybe it might include your whole nation. It might include a nation. It might include, international affairs, et cetera, et cetera. It just depends on who you are and how far your reach goes and what you have the capacity for. But, we're going to just talk a little bit about self-care and the different facets of self-care and the different means of caring for yourself, so that everybody has a proper understanding of it. And, a very, very simple way to care for yourself, first and foremost, is eating healthy. I know that sounds basic, but not everyone is eating natural foods, and you can start with what you put in your body, as far as caring for yourself. So this is very real. I'm not going to talk to you about some stuff that's not going to really make a difference for you. because that's not really caring for yourself. You're just going through the motions. Anybody can do that. But the first step you can take to care for yourself is eating healthy food, natural foods. Um, on the flip side of that, you may see people that have food addictions, eating disorders, or you may even be abusing yourself through food. It is definitely very possible. Some people do abuse themselves through food. And right now, I'm just focusing on the senses, the five senses, because that's really how you make any changes for yourself, is dealing with the five senses first and foremost. That's pretty basic, right? That's, you learned that in elementary school, preschool, really, what the five senses are, right? So let's start right here with your mouth. Healthy eating natural foods. Peace and love, everybody watching. Please drop in the chat, say hello. I love interaction. I don't really like to lecture, even though people want to sit there and listen. But hey, interact, say peace, love, light, hello, shalom, assalamu alaikum. Love to hear from you all. Anyway, so that's very simple, eating healthy, and we can have a whole hour-long video on what that means to eat healthy. But the bottom line is, how do you feel when you eat these foods? How do you feel after you eat these foods? What is your mental state like when you eat a certain way? And whether or not you have food addictions, and are making excuses for certain food addictions, like or if you're abusing foods or have an eating disorder, and you may not know, but you know, you may not know. I guess that is possible, but I think that people, they know whether you're in denial or not. You pretty much know, that you're doing something that's healthy or not healthy, that's good for you or not good for you. Okay, so if you're gonna talk about self care, hey Liz, nice to see you. If you're gonna talk about self care, let's start with the basics of, what are you putting in your body? You know, are you making sure you're drinking spring water, the best water you can find? Are you educating yourself on what the best water is, on what the best foods are for the human body, and more specifically for your body? Because everybody's different. We all have certain allergies. We all have intolerances. We all have a different lineage that we come from, that determines what foods are going to be best for us. And especially if you're melanin dominant, what foods that are best for you is going to be way completely different from somebody who's melanin recessive. And I want to recommend a book to you all. You know what? I might have it right here. I'm going to recommend a book really quickly. If you do want to learn more about what foods may be best for you. I've studied a lot of different people, but I find this is like my little Bible now, as far as eating and giving nutritional guidance or addressing any illnesses or issues that anybody has. I always go here first. And this is by Dr. Jewel Pookrum, Vitamins and Minerals from A to Z. Because when we eat, you're not supposed to be abusing food, but when you're eating, you should be eating consciously to give yourself something. Whatever you put in your body, you should be doing it to care for yourself. Um, even if it's a treat, you should have consciously know how this is going to affect you. How is this going to affect your mental state? How is this going to affect your body, your health, your energy levels? Um, and so a part of self care is being aware of yourself, spending time with yourself, you know, asking yourself, not out loud, of course, but asking yourself and taking a moment to reflect, how do I feel? How does this make me feel? Is this good for me? Why am I doing this to myself? Why do I have this addiction? Why am I addicted to sugar? Let me address that. Why am I addicted to salt? Why am I addicted to cheese? And addressing that. So I know it sounds simple, and since it is so simple, it should be easy for you to implement. Because it doesn't matter if you're listening or if you're repeating it. If you're not implementing it, then I mean, it doesn't matter. It's a waste of time. All right. So the next thing you have to think about is, we have five senses: taste, hearing, right? Pretty basic. Hearing, right? So what are you listening to? So all these things are going into your body, and you have control of what are you putting there. So if you're going to really care for yourself, this is the basis of how you care for yourself. What are you listening to? Are you affirming? Are you affirming yourself? Are you telling yourself, I can do this. I am beautiful. I am brilliant. I'm smart. I am capable. I can do all things. I can manifest my dreams and aspirations. What are you telling yourself? Okay. Or are you, are you affirming those around you too? Because that's a part of self-care. Because if you're screaming and yelling and using abusive language all the time, then that's not very good self-care, because that takes a toll on you and everybody around you as well. But if you're around a lot of screaming, yelling, and abusive language, that's going to affect you as well. So a part of self-care is removing yourself from those types of environments and making sure that you are uh, surrounding yourself with affirmations. There's also sound therapy. Okay. That's one of the things that I do specialize in. But, we live in a time now, you can just go to YouTube and type in certain frequencies. There's brown noise is one of my favorites. There's brown noise. There's pink noise. And then there's certain frequencies that are healing frequency, because it has a certain effect on your neurons. It has a certain effect on your psyche, your mental state, and your spiritual being, because you're talking about vibration, and you're 85%, close to 90% water. Okay, so those vibrations. What are you vibrating to yourself? Um, that's self care. Um, Nature sounds. That's the best way you can care for yourself. Go out in nature, listen to the birds. Okay. Um, then what are you seeing? Green, looking at the green grass, the green trees, the blue sky. All of those are healing frequencies. Certain colors um, do have, it's a scientific fact, certain colors and things do have a impact on your mental health and your overall well-being. Certain colors cause you to behave in a certain way. This is a scientific fact. Um, they cause you to think in a certain way, etc., etc. This is why when you watch movies, they have music. They have certain frequencies to help you feel that emotion that they want you to feel, right? They have used certain colors on the screen, certain images, because they want you to feel a certain way. All right, but you are the master over yourself. So what are you doing to make sure you feel the way that you want to feel? Okay, that's color therapy, natural light. Um, it's also healing. I don't have natural light in here where I am right now, but I'm big on natural light, especially during the day when you can get natural light. The more natural light you have, the healthier you're going to be, um, because you're going to take that light in through your eyes and also through your skin. You're talking about nutrients. You can actually get nutrients from the sun. And I'm getting off a little bit, um, but you do get nutrients from the sun through your skin. Okay, but back to your eyesight, right? Natural light. Are you when you're watching? I talked about movies, but when you're watching things like TV, movies, anything you're watching on YouTube, are you receiving, are those progressive messages subconsciously, or is it something that's going to be something that's self-defeating, or that's getting you in the habit of being fearful. Um, personally, I love films, so I do watch more TV, maybe than I should. A lot of times it's to cope with the stress of life. And it's one of the things that I do. I love watching movies and film, but I do talk to myself while watching film to make sure that my brain is receiving the correct messages, or I may have a conversation about whatever it is that I watched after I watch it. If it's something that I didn't agree with, or something that I want to make sure that I'm not accepting into my reality. Okay, I don't want to become a part of my reality and affect the way that I interact every day. Because all those things do have an effect, and you have to be aware of that, and you're aware of yourself and aware of how different things affect you, because different things affect different people, in a unique way. We're all unique, so you need to know yourself. You can't take care of yourself if you don't know yourself. Okay. Now, we talked about what you put in your mouth, what you put in through your ears, what you put in through your eyes. What about smell? Does smell matter? Of course it does. You need to be getting fresh air. You have a whole respiratory system that matters. Fresh air. You can do aromatherapy for yourself. Create a good environment for yourself. That's how you really pamper yourself. These are things you can do to really pamper yourself. Not go through the motions of pampering yourself, but actually doing something that's really helping you and helping you to heal and helping you to be better, health wise. Um, on the other flip side of that, we spend a lot of time in enclosed spaces, without any ventilation. A lot of us have artificial air, ACs, et cetera, et cetera. And it's really not healthy. It's not healthy for your respiratory system. It's not healthy for you psychologically, and all those things are parallel, spiritual. It is spiritual. Everything is spiritual, really. If you understand the science of the spirit, it's not spooky. It's not really that deep. It kind of is, but not really. If you seek the truth, you'll find it. Um, so want to make sure that you're. And this is pretty basic. This is, for me, it's basic. I'm gonna stop saying it's basic, because for everybody it's not basic. Okay, but for me this is basic stuff. But I want you guys to understand what self-care is, since this is a fad thing that everybody's talking about, but a lot of times it's not anything that's really making any changes to really actually do anything for you. At least that's what I'm seeing a lot of times. Um, so loving touch, self hugs, affection from others. This is very important. This is another scientific fact of something that is a need for humans. Okay, you are a human being. You need hugs. You need affection from other people. Okay, you need interaction, socialization, face to face from other people. You need to be touched lovingly. Okay, um, whether that's sexual or not is irrelevant. You need to be touched lovingly and know that person, this is a loving touch. Okay, and I know, purposely, many of us have been forced into isolation, excessively working or spending a lot of time virtually. Um, but on the extreme side, some of you may be hitting things. You may be engaging in self harm. That's more common than I realized. A lot of people are engaging in self harm in a lot of ways. Um, and that could come through any of your senses, where you could be harming yourself. You could be harming yourself with food. You could be harming yourself by what you're saying to yourself, your mental dialogue, or what you're openly saying to yourself. Um, you could be harming yourself with, what you're putting in front of your eyes, um, or smoking. I guess that would be, another extreme. Smoking, drugs. These are abusive, addictive behaviors where you're harming yourself. So when you're talking about self-care, but you're doing these things that are harming yourself, you're not really engaging in self-care. You're I mean, you don't understand what self-care is, obviously, so that's why I'm doing this video. Um, let's really engage in self-care. Okay, let's stop the harmful behaviors that we have towards ourselves and really take care of ourselves, really love ourselves, really help yourself to break these addictions, really help yourself to stop these self-abusive behaviors. Okay. Um, most people focus on doing things that you like to do. Okay. But if the things that you like to do are abusive behaviors and harmful behaviors to yourself, to what extent is that really self-care? Can you really say that that's self-care? You really can't. Um, I guess it's better than doing things that you don't want to do, depending on if those things you don't want to do are actually good for you. Okay. So it's not about wants, really. It's about what's good for you. It's about you being a good steward of yourself. It's about you being a responsible adult, a responsible person for yourself. I understand some of us may not have had responsible parents. So you have to learn to parent yourself, to really parent yourself, to really help to discipline yourself toward positive behaviors, towards truly caring behaviors toward for yourself, healthy behavior. Okay. Um, you definitely want to be pursuing your goals, pursuing your aspirations, um, you know, coupled with, you know, making those you doing things for those you love. But you got to do things for yourself just as much as you're doing things for the other people that you love. If you buy something for somebody, just make sure you're buying something for yourself too. If you're if you spend time talking to other people, make sure you take some time to talk to yourself. And they say you're crazy if you talk to yourself. That's not true. Everybody talks to themselves. The point is, what kind of dialogue are you having? And are you consciously talking to yourself? Are you sitting down in meditation and listening to yourself and responding to yourself and changing any mental dialogue that needs to be changed? This is healthy. Okay, this is healthy. Um, the best thing you can do if you don't know, when you don't know something or you don't feel like you're an expert on something, is to make sure you educate yourself, to learn. If you don't know what eating healthy is, you don't know how to properly do your affirmations, because I do realize a lot of people don't do that properly. You don't know how to properly set goals, realistic goals, achievable goals, that you, and, write out the steps towards achieving those goals, and then get to the point where you're writing affirmation towards those steps. That's the proper way to write affirmations, and to goal setting and that kind of thing. If you don't know how to do that, find you a mentor. Okay, find you somebody who can teach you that. Yes, I am available. GodisNanu.com. I am available. But definitely find you somebody who can show you that is competent. Okay. And let's see. Last thing is that, I know one thing I realized, that we as women, a lot of women I come across, need to learn to establish healthy boundaries. Okay. We live in a time now where people go from isolation to, really disrespecting people's boundaries. People's boundaries are disrespected online. It's like people don't even understand what healthy boundaries are. You shouldn't be having a public conversation about sacred things. Like, you shouldn't be publicly talking to somebody about their sex life, publicly talking to somebody about just personal stuff. You shouldn't be sharing information that affects other people that's personal. For the most part, I mean, there's some, it's very situation specific, and boundaries have to do with your comfortability. Um, but people cross a lot of boundaries. Um, People, I mean, it's almost like boundaries don't even exist anymore. Um, it's very scary and it's unhealthy, the way that a lot of us are interacting with each other and really violating each other's privacy, and um, just feel entitled to people's lives. Um, Nobody's entitled to anything that has to do with you. Nobody is entitled to anything that has to do with you. Nobody is entitled to anything that has to do with you. You are not entitled to anything that has to do with anyone else. Unless you're in a relationship with that person and you're in a place in that relationship where um, where there should be amount of reciprocation as far as transparency. You know, that's a different conversation. Okay. And I'm gonna do a separate video probably talking about boundaries. Um, we have to have healthy boundaries, even in relationships, even in marriage, um, even with your children. You have to have healthy boundaries both ways. Um, and that's something that I'm pretty big on, teaching my children boundaries, understanding that I'm a human being. There's certain things that I don't like. This is my personal space. These are my personal things. Um, this is your personal space. These are your personal things. This is his body. This is her body. You don't have the right to do certain things. In other people's spaces. Okay, everybody has a personal space. And we have to understand boundaries, even on the internet and the virtual world, as far as boundaries. And we all have to learn how to express what our boundaries are. Okay, and that's a part of self-care. It's learning to express, knowing what your boundaries are. Things that make you feel uncomfortable, things that you're not comfortable with, things that you don't like. Okay, I'm not comfortable talking about this. This is private. um, you know for me, i'm uncomfortable I'm uncomfortable with a man trying to shake my hand. uh, Most of the time I'm pretty uncomfortable with it, with somebody just randomly, a stranger. Now it's different if I'm being introduced to somebody, then it's appropriate. But as far as a man walking up to me, um, because I'm not single, I'm a married woman. That to me that's invasive. My husband is here. Don't walk up to me to introduce yourself. That's disrespectful. Um, so you have to know what your boundaries are and be able to express your boundaries very clearly. So for me, what I to or reach in to give you a hug, and I don't know you. Why do you feel like you can touch me in that way? So you have to have healthy boundaries. You have to know what you're comfortable with and draw the line where you're comfortable. Um, I've had people come up to hug me, and I I don't know you. Why are you trying to touch me? It's just not, it's not healthy, to invade people's space like that. Even with my children, I don't just go and grab my children and hug them. I typically say, "Can I have a hug?" Not to say that everybody has to do it that way. Depends on your relationship and the child, of course. Some people don't like to be touched. So I typically ask, "Can I have a hug? Can I have a kiss?" Um, Typically, depend on the situation. But you know, that being said, that's all I have for tonight on self-care. Pretty short. Please, if you have any questions, comments, rude remarks, or anything, I would love to hear from you all. I would love to hear from you all, whoever's watching. I do see a couple people watching from YouTube and Facebook. So just let me know. Also, if you value this information, please go ahead and shoot me a donation to my Cash App, Godis Nanu. Same as my name, it's just Godis Nanu, $ Godis Nanu. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And feel free to request a call from me so we can schedule your free consultation. Okay, then that's at www.godisnanu.com. All right, and that was my poetry you heard at the beginning of the video. And I'm going to end this out by playing my song, one of my classic songs, Travel Hard. All right, hope you enjoy it. Make sure you go and you subscribe to my videos on YouTube. All right, I am trying to build up my YouTube page, as well as my Instagram. I did mean to go live on Instagram. I keep forgetting. I need to work on that. Just trying to work on getting my social media pages built up, as well as working out of the office here where I am located in Arkansas. So definitely the office is open if you want to come visit. And thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate all support. All right. And you can find my music on my website as well. You can buy the album. Peace, love, and enlightenment. Oh, I think I said already. Make sure you go to my YouTube page. Go to subscribe. Click the bell so you get notifications. Make sure you like the video. Share it. Please share it, because everybody needs to know what self-care should look like.